Since very long. I First of all, I'm a data person, so I know whatever investments people are doing, and they are saying, let's say I've purchased this home 20 years back, and now it's 30 times the value of when I purchased. I'm talking back home in Pakistan, so the values increased a lot, but the currency also depreciated. So when people tell me this thing that 20 years back it was of this amount and now it's this amount, I always talk to myself that okay, what are the other asset classes that are giving you such returns? Because you're talking about in the rupee, which is depreciated. So we have to first of all benchmark it against the dollar, and then there are other assets around the world which people don't see, because once we are living in one particular region, we don't see a lot what is going on outside world. Similarly, people living in Dubai, they should think about what is going on outside. So people living in Canada should think about what is going on in outside world. So when I started comparing that, I found that there are other asset classes which have given much better returns without, because our real estate sometimes is not passive. So if you're buying an off-plan property, it is of course passive because you're just paying something upfront and then you're paying some installment, and towards the end of the tenure, you might rent it out or you might just flip the property. If you rent it out there, your passive investment is not no more there. It's now partially active because you have to think about having a tenant, problems with the property, and so on and so forth. So completely passive income is no more there, like in terms of real estate, unless you're just doing flipping and these things. For that, even you have to think a lot. Once I studied further, I found that investing in the stocks, especially through index funding, where you don't have to worry about a lot, you just have to pray that US stays there as it is, which is, I believe, would stay like that. Or you can also not only invest in the US stock, you can diversify your portfolio and invest in not only US, but some kind of ETF, which is giving you a exposure in places like China, in places like let's say South Africa, in places like India. So once you are investing through those ETFs, those stocks, you are completely passive because you don't have to think about what is the next Apple, what is the next Nvidia. You don't have to think about that because I don't have that kind of knowledge to find out what is the next good stock. What I know is you have to keep on investing. You don't have to pick and choose the stock. If you pick and choose the stock, you must be doing gambling, because unless you are well aware about their things, what is going on, what is the next step the CEO is going to take, what is the next CEO going to be, or when is the CEO retiring, or things like that. If you don't have such kind of insight, it's very difficult for you to find out what exactly is the company going to do. So my reason of doing this content is just because I want to educate people that there are many avenues that you can go into without having a lot of knowledge. Because once you talk about stocks, people think that there are so many graphs, you have to read so many statements and so on and so forth. But this is not the case. You can be very like a complete layman. You just have to understand what are the tax implications, what are the transfer fees, what are the transaction fees, is this platform good enough, is this platform bad for me, while in Dubai, which platform is good. So these kind of things you need to know for sure, but you don't have to worry about which stock you need to pick, because this is completely different ball game, which is very technical. And I don't recommend people, unless and until they want to have some fun money into, let's say, Bitcoin, into their specific stocks. Unless and until that's the case, then it's fine. But huge portion of your wealth should not go into individual stocks, because if you do stock investing, you've seen what happened with BlackBerry, you've seen what happened with Intel, you've seen what happened with even companies like Cisco. Cisco is good even till now, but the stock prices have not moved a lot since 20 years. But you've seen IBM, what happened to them. Nokia, what happened to them. So they were pioneers in back in the days. What happened to them now after 20 years? So I don't want to stuck into, let's say, I'm a big fan of Apple, but I cannot be sure that Apple will be there for after 20 years.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But if you think that, okay, US will be there after 20 years, then you can invest in the US stocks ETFs. So this is why my thought process is always like, this is one thought process. The other one is that even with, let's say, 100 dirhams, you can start investing, which is not the case in, let's say, real estate, because if you're doing off-plan properties or big properties, unless you go into crowdfunding, uh, you can not invest a small amount in real estate. But for a small amount, you can even invest in gold. You can invest in, let's say, stocks. You can invest in crowdfunded properties. A lot of options are there. So people wait until they have a big pool of money, or even fixed deposits, or some government securities. Like here in the UAE, we have national bonds. So you only have to start with a small amount. Then only you can see the benefit of compounding.
I'm totally agree with you. I guess it's very important to diversify the money. But how I say as well, it's a very crazy world who we are currently living in. I guess there's not even one country than Dubai who have not financial issues currently and war.